Alright, I'm going to talk about objectivism and relativism as materialistic models from the point of view, where basically both views think there are things and relationships. So I'll explain this picture in a minute, but there are your things, and the arrows are basically the relationships, or alternately viewed, they could be considered expressions of properties as the objectivist model views them. So let's start. In an objective model, you start with the idea of a thing, that there's a thing. This is fundamental. There's a thing, and it has properties. Now, if you want to look up properties and understand a little bit more philosophically what's meant by properties, you can look at this. The Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy is a good place to go. But for our purposes, we have a thing, and the little blue square and purple ellipse and whatnot. These are the properties of the thing. They adhere. They're inside the thing. They're a part of the thing. Okay. Now we come along and we observe those. Now, in ancient times, we just considered that observation direct. This picture would be complete, but we know enough physics now to know that information about this property comes to us via this arrow, or the relationship of that thing to us, as well as to other things like light sources, if the property is a color, for example. So those are relationships between the thing and us. Alright, so this is what the thing has, is a bunch of such relationships with the world around it. And this is what we actually see, right? This is what we know comes to our eye, and is what we experience as a property is really a function of this relationship, as I have demonstrated many, many times. So relativism is taking these relationships as the primary thing. The thing itself is more vague. It's something we conclude about based on the arrows, right? We can move our eye around. We can talk to other people who have their eyes in different positions. We get a notion of all of these arrows, and we triangulate back down into what the thing must be. But we always keep studying the thing. Why? Because there's more relationships, and the relationships are what we really have direct access to, right? So in an objectivist model, we have all of the things which are known, and all these relationships which are unknown, and we will research. Okay, that's somewhat equivalent to a relativistic model, but it's inverted, because in the relativistic model, we have all the relationships we can observe one at a time. The reason we're not done is because there's more relationships we haven't observed, and we triangulate back and ask ourselves, what is this thing? What is this thing that seems to be at the center of all of these relationships? And that we ask scientific questions about that, which we answer by observing, the relationships. So that's the idea. We end up with a notion of a thing where what's clear about the thing is its relationships, and what's always a little bit unclear is what it is at this end of those relationships, what the nature of that is fundamentally. And we don't get an essence because we always have more relationships to look at least in principle. All right, cheers.